Okay, thank you very much for being patient. See, the last time I went to prison, I think left a record of press-ups and sit-ups. It was 1,600 press-ups and 2,000 sit-ups per day. So I was trying to see if something happens, whether I'll be able to sustain the record that I left. But we are here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear with you. We are not playing around. As a nation, I'm a legislator. I represent everyone from a national point of view. So when you see me at times bringing these issues up, you probably think, oh, Honorable Mliswa is probably trying to just raise a storm. But in my taking off, I said that I would stand with the people and I'll represent national interests. So it's like that. People with just, they approach me for their concerns. Other people also approach me on many other issues. Joshua Nkomo, Housing Cooperative, they also approach me and so forth. I'm unlucky because I think I talk too much, and because of that I attract a lot of pleas from people. My statement begins as follows. A very good morning to you here present, and thank you for taking time to join me. To maintain law and order, protect and secure the lives and property of the people, and to institute dynamic policing practices that endanger effective prevention, investigation, and detention of crime. And so goes the ZRP mission statement. It is a statement that inspires confidence that an organization is geared to effectively and efficiently tackle the challenges presented by our context in society. But what if these so-called victims are not only members of the organization, but indeed the head and the ranks? Who police the police? It is unfortunate that over the years the ZRP has been prone to leadership scandals emanating from the Chiuri era, whilst they have done their utmost to spruce up their image through vibrant public relations campaign and active social media interaction. The good they are doing is being eroded by the dark allegations consistently doing the various realms, commissioner generals, with two to be exact. I'm having an eye problem, I think. Two. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Well, to be exact, two commissioner generals that share a long history of working together and camaraderie. Did this relationship extend to divulging into unscrupulous acts of corruption and abuse of office? Well, let us see. The allegations are there. Looking back at Commissioner General Matanga's illustrious career in the ZRP, we can witness his rise through the ranks, where he literally started from the bottom. The speed which he rose whilst celebrated is questionable in its own accordance to set the process and the procedure. It is alleged that while C.G. Matanga was Deputy Commissioner General Administration during the Commissioner General Chiwuri's era, he sourced goods and services from personally known friends and acquaintances for self-aggrandizement. These dealings are said to be fraught with irregularities, and attempts are alleged to have been made by Matanga to these dealings swept under the carpet, whilst yet other dealings conducted by the former C.G. Chiwuri and himself are alleged to have been torn to shreds to conceal the evidence. He presided over the tearing of information while he was Commissioner General. It is well known within the police ranks, because you cannot bring Chiwuri to court without Matanga being there, because he was Commissioner General in charge of administration. And finance is also one of the departments that falls under administration. So he signed for everything. So the moment you bring Chiwuri to court, Chiwuri will say, but I followed the due process, which the Deputy Commissioner General Admin in charge of finance was appending their signature too. So how can I be wrong? So you must understand why he was keen to shred that. Sometime in December 2019, CG Matanga, in the company of his Chief Staff Officer, Transport and Logistics Commissioner Mliswa, we give names when we told you. It is alleged that he paid a visit to Croco Motors with intent to purchase 80 operation vehicle without following the due tender process and procedure. In his personal capacity, CG Matanga is then alleged to have instructed Croco Motors to clear 80 vehicles on customs clearance certificates under the Zimbabwe Republic Police. Matanga is further alleged to have instructed Croco Motors to brand the aforementioned vehicles in the ZRP colors ready for collection. However, during the routine inspections at Croco Motors, ZIMRO officials discovered various anomalies in the procurement process of the aforementioned vehicles. As an alarm was raised, CG Matanga is alleged to have panicked and subsequently could not make collection of the vehicles as initially agreed. Matanga to have hastily made an attempt to institute regulated tender procedures in retrospect, but however in vain. Matanga is then to have proceeded to have payment made for 15 of the 80 ZRP branded vehicles which are currently parked at the ZRP warehouse transport section, whilst the remaining 65 branded vehicles remain at Croco Motors bonded warehouse in Harare. Efforts by Matanga to engage Croco Motors owner Mr. Chingwena alleged to have proved fruitless, leaving Matanga exposed and in a quandary as to how to proceed. Matanga is subsequently alleged to have initiated negotiations for condonation of branded vehicles at the Croco Motors bonded warehouse as a way of concealing his corrupt administrative tendencies. You shall see that he is seeking condonation. Okay, and condonation is when you do something and you come back to try and regularize it. And that has always been the culture, but it is deliberate. So how then can you have a system which is supposed to adhere to corporate governance constantly seeking condonation? Herein lies the question. What is further extremely disconcerting to note is that the price paid for these vehicles by ZRP was approximately double the actual value of the vehicles from other players who were denied the opportunity to tender, as the procurement process was floated and fraught with irregularities, whilst prejudicing the ZRP of a huge sum of money in the process. In another incident, Matanga is alleged to have approached Scanlink with the intention of purchasing command vehicles for Chief Superintendent and Assistant Commissioners at a cost of approximately $43,000 each for Chief Superintendent and $66,000 each for Assistant Commissioners. The total number of vehicles is yet to be verified. The total number, once again acting in connivance with Commissioner Mliswa, and this time with Scanlink representative, the value of the aforementioned vehicles were inflated at the behest of Matanga. This price anomaly, however, came to light, and in an attempt to conceal the corruption, the police tried to engage Scanlink to reimburse the value of the inflated amount. It is further alleged that Matanga is the recipient of 5 residential stands at Santon Development near Westgate in Harare, obtained through alleged corrupt means through one Felix Mnyaradzi. Furthermore, it is believed that Matanga is a beneficiary of further stands through the mayor of Harare, Herbert Gomba, to be precise, which are in Vainona. Matanga is also alleged to have been involved in road traffic accident that caused his top of the range vehicles to be written off and replaced, whilst police stations suffer from lack of transport to carry out investigation challenges. You know that he is an alcoholic, and he has never been arrested for driving while drunk. If you follow the accidents he's had, it's in the evening when he's drunk and so forth. Yet he's supposed to be the custodian of law and order. So why is the Commissioner General not arrested when he has these many accidents? And these are repaired through fiscus money, through ZRP money. Even more unsettling is an alleged alliance between Matanga and one Deli Shingwaya for the purposes of bribery, which would appear to have sucked in Director of Special Anti-Unity in the President's Office, Tabani Pofu, as well as members of the Magistrates Court and CIO. Ladies and gentlemen, the media, there is no more judiciary to talk about. It's about threatening people, name dropping the president's name and so forth. ZACC itself is unconstitutional. Chapter 13 of the Constitution talks about 2 authorities which can investigate: anti-corruption, Prosecutor General, and the ZRP. ZACC is unconstitutional. It has become a cartel for extorting money from people. They say to you, it's supposed to be reporting to the Prosecutor General's office. I'm a legislator. So if Chapter 13 of the Constitution talks about the Prosecutor General doing that, okay, what is the purpose of ZACC? So it has now been created, and I'm very clear about that its agenda is extorting money, and they're threatening business people. They go to the magistrate's court, you know exactly the outcome. Ngwaya is there, Reza has been there for a long time. I appeal to the Prosecutor General. If it is true that civil servants must be rotated, how come Reza has been there for more than 10 years? If it's that good, why doesn't he get moved to another court which is not performing so that it makes it better? So how can we deal with corruption when we're not rotating magistrates and prosecutors in the areas? So to me, most of the people in prison are not supposed to be in prison. It's the people who are persecuting who are supposed to be in prison. I hate to think what will happen the day the court rules that all the cases that Tabani Mpofu brought to court were unconstitutional because they don't have that. I am in the process of making an nationalism of ZACC. Where do they fit? So all those people have been arrested under ZACC. It's abuse of power. The president is a lawyer, in his wisdom, knows who investigates and which statement. But again, people have been name dropping. Anybody who visits the president is being told, I'm coming from the president. What about these institutions which are appointed, which are supposed to be doing the mandate? What is their role? This alleged cartel is said to be causing fear and despondency to its victims who are allegedly arrested by the ZRP or ZACC, and whilst placed on remand through the contacts at the courts, bribes are demanded from them to secure their release. These syndicates are believed to target those loyal to His Excellency President Edi Mnangagwa, senior ZRP officers and individuals. Why it's not the first doing this. In the Mugabe era, he did it as well. A number of war veterans, senior CIO officers, police officers also came prey to this guy. What he has on him kana uri mshonga wa now, mshonga wakawa majairo jairo. The procurement violations are apparently not limited to the above listed, and it is believed that the floating of the procurement procedures, price inflations, the indiscriminate arrest of targeted individuals, persecution, as opposed to prosecution. I'm a victim of persecution. That's why when people are persecuted, I speak out. I was persecuted over 70 times. And you must understand how I feel about it. But I've always said those who persecute will be prosecuted one day. There's a difference between persecution and prosecution. There are allegations that I have officially submitted to the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. You see, the point of allegation is to give an opportunity for one to be acquitted. However, in order for these allegations to be thoroughly investigated, it would require the Commissioner General Matanga to step down pending investigation to mitigate the occurrence of intimidation or evidence tampering. How does a junior officer investigate his boss while still in office? The Anti-Corruption Commission officers who investigate are police officers. So how do they go and seek a statement from the Commissioner General? So in the best practice that we know, he must step aside for the integrity of these investigations to carry on. If he's clear, he will come back. I'm looking forward to him saying, with these allegations on me, may I step aside and allow them to happen, and then at the end of the day, we will hear what the outcome is. These are allegations, just like he also has allegations on others where he's arresting. So why can't he also? And fortunately with this, he will be investigated to be arrested. In most cases, they arrest to investigate. So that process must also happen. One, he is placed with so much responsibility, and exemplary conduct is not only expected but demanded of him. He should be squeaky clean. For you to have these officers and to run them, Zimbabwe must demand people who have a good social standing, who have an impeccable record in terms of their dealings. Because right now we have people at the top preaching zero tolerance on corruption, yet they are the most corrupt. Their institutions are corrupt. So how then do you do that? I'm hoping that the Anti-Corruption Commission, and I have confidence in the chairperson, Justice Lois Matanda Moyo, to be able to judge this. I know of her judgments where she was very clear in terms of the law and what needs to be done. Many of the incidents of police insubordination can be traced to leadership vacuum in the ranks. I know there is the issue of tear gas in the buses. Do you really think that was not a message to send to say we are not happy? To the hierarchy of the police, it's food for thought. The majority of the members of the police are unable to function in a professional manner as demanded of them by the Constitution. I'm forced to ask again, who polices the police? Enough is not enough. Matanga must be investigated. Then I'll move to a number of issues. KM Auctions sold police vehicles on auction in 2015, and no money was received by the police for the forfeiture and unservable police vehicles. Who authorized? No follow-up was done. He was involved in an accident with a combi between 2015 and 2016. We've got the dates, and the police paid for the repairs of the combi. Matanga was at fault. And Commissioner Makawachi knows. We give names. He authorized the purchase of tea smoke from South Africa for $2 million, and that the smoke was not delivered to the police. Superintendent Punch of support unit knows about it. We give names. It's not speculation. He authorized the purchase, and these are still there. Of these 2 million, which were there, are still there. In fact, they're said to be second-hand. He authorized the purchase of white tents that accommodate 500 people. 10 tents were bought for each province. These tents cannot be used. They are substandard. The price of the tent was 1.5 million. And like I say, the thing the recent purchase of the vehicles delivery was short of 33 vehicles. And Nyasha of Praz, who's no longer there, knows about it. Now you must ask why he's not there. Because the moment that you want to expose them, they then suspend you. But Praz is an institution. The records are there. Purchase of lorries, buses for the police were done without going to tender. He authorized, and the price was exorbitant. Matanga reinstated Commissioner Makamach, who was fired by the president for corruption. He's now the officer commanding Manicaland. I will talk about his abuse of office in deploying police officers to Joshua Nkomo Housing Cooperative in Marimba. He had no court order. People were beaten up. And still is in office. We need to understand from an abuse of office, how does a Commissioner General deploy police officers without a court order? People are beaten up. They're intimidated. Fear is inculcated in them to just leave their homes. All these are issues which are there. I want to respond again, so that at least if I'm arrested, you have more stories to write. I want to respond to Deli Shungwaya's press statement factually. He questions where I got this from. I'll give you the car that he went with, number plate, the time he was in prison, and so forth. I said, I wish I was a prosecutor in this country. People would go to prison on facts. So he has made a statement. I'm responding to it with these facts. August 6, 2020, car silver Toyota Corolla, number plate ABP 2323, 11:30 at Harare Remand Prison. Approximate time of arrival was 11:15. I've got the picture of the car. He stopped behind an unregistered Honda Fit the picture we have. He approached he spoke to the officer who I'll be writing to the prisons, whose name is, who had been talking to, called Chiwaka, who is the officer in charge of Harare Central. I've got the audios of them talking. I've got the audios of him being in prison. Now you understand why I want to be arrested. In the next hour after this, I'll be releasing them to respond to his press statement. And the officer in charge telling him to come and being picked up by somebody else. This is the system that we are being exposed to. I've said, I've given you the number plate of the car, the time he was there, and the date. So those who want to investigate must investigate. I've written to the prosecutor general about this. He went and he met Felix Mnyarat in the office. It was not recorded. Felix Mnyarat was denied bail so that he does not interface with witnesses. And the key witness in this matter was the complainant who was Dennis Why. He then went to think prison. You might think this and that about me, but these are the facts I'm presenting you. So I've responded, but I've said in the next hour, I will release the audios, which are evidence. He was there, and I'm writing to the acting Commissioner General of Prisons, this officer in charge. You cannot enter a prison without being recorded. You cannot enter a prison without an investigating officer. It's only the investigating officer when they want to further get information from you that they get in. But this is the system that I am a legislator. Section 119 of the Constitution is very clear in terms of my functions, to uphold the provisions of the Constitution. When I do this, I invite snipers. I invite a lot of people. I'm not paid for this, but I'm doing this for national interest, for us to accept the clarion call by His Excellency that no one is above the law. The only person who enjoys immunity in this country is the president. And just last week he was talking about that no one is above the law. We get inspired, we get motivated. Being close to the president, seeing him, does not then give you the license to be corrupt at the end of the day. We have seen the president many times. We see him in his office, we see him at the farm. But you've never seen us posting pictures. What for? When we go and see him, it's about national issues. Besides me being related to the president, I must make this very clear. I've never ridden on him. I have no business from him that I've ever got. I've never asked him for anything. Because I am my own person. Politically, I'm not there because of him. So is my Uncle Dietmar Mtas, when he was powerful. That's why I did my politics in Marsh West, not in Manicaland or in Midlands. They know I'm a straightforward person. They know I tell the truth. That's the reason why I went to ZACC in Botswana, to block Troika from coming here to tell the truth that Zimbabweans wanted a change. And there was no point reinforcing an army to come here. We believed in the president. That's why we went that far. So some of us are very clear in terms of our allegiance. But we are worried about these people. This culture of saying is surrounded by criminals and not naming them must stop, you Zimbabweans. Ndaneta nemi kuti munoda kungotaura kuti vanhu vakakomberedza president ndo matsotsi. Inini ndinotaura zita, that's the difference. But mese munozviziva. Ndosaka tizotaura vana Chidau, land barons. Chizotaura vana July moyo. Mazita avo. Kuti ndio land barons. Because vakuru ndo vanopa land. Vozopa vamwe vanhu kuti vatengese land yaya ivo vachida kuva protect. If we don't name and shame, this country is not going anywhere. I'm more than happy, I'm prepared to face anything. The only thing that can happen to me is death. But when I die, it's God's will. Don't ever write he was assassinated nekuti aitaura too much. Nguva yaMwari inenge yasvika. Zvokupinda majere izvo titombotya kana. Titombondiswa ikoko naMwari kuti atoti protect. I shall fight fearlessly. I shall not fear anybody. And I'm prepared to give more evidence on all these issues, like I've done. Lastly, there's been a picture which has been circulating on somebody who was beaten up, sadly and unfortunate. But the name is not mentioned. The face of the person is not known. So if anybody knows the name and the face of that person, they must report to the police and say, I beat somebody up. I've never seen one being identified by the scars at the back. Show us the scars and show us the face and give us the name. But I can also see that people are also becoming a bit loony by following Paul Westwood. My arrest on the 70 started with Paul Westwood when I said Chuguri was corrupt, if you remember. It's because Mliswa Motors was giving a percentage to the police at the time. They would buy cars from Mliswa Motors and they would get 10%. When we then realized through an audit after having bought 10% from Hammarsholt Band, go to the deeds office and see if there was ever a change of ownership. The company had 1,000 in its account. I've always said this. I injected 75,000 in that account. My 50% was from a management point of view, which belonged to Hammarsholt Band. His 50% is still there. The company even went under liquidation. And I've submitted my papers. It is that white man working with Chichuguri that got me arrested over 70 times, because the Standard ran an article saying that Chichuguri is corrupt. And from there, I was arrested left, right, and center. That's for another day. That's a book. I was persecuted for saying that a commissioner general was corrupt. I'm doing it today again. Am I worried? Do I care? No, I don't. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. My first question will be on the allegations which you have presented to us. We saw the statement which you we saw the paper the letter which you wrote to ZACC. Is there by any chance, will you by any chance share with us maybe evidence of these allegations, for example, procurement papers from Proco Motors, so that at least when we write these stories, at least they'll have enough time?
What I've said, these are allegations which are subject to an investigation. And let the people investigate. When they investigate and don't have evidence, we shall provide evidence. We want them to do their job. Even if you kill me, they are kept somewhere. The papers will still come out. Yes?
Okay. ZACC is on several platforms and times accused of sleeping on the job when they are given issues to investigate in relation to corruption. How confident are you that they will do justice to these allegations you say are subject to investigation against Commissioner General Matano?
You see, the difference with me is that I put pen to paper, it becomes a record. You see, unlike people who just go on social media and speak, I make it in black and white. The same thing that I employ anybody who feels that there are allegations on me on beating somebody up or stealing cattle or doing whatever. Write it to the police that these are the allegations. Let them investigate. So I am different. I put things in black and white on my letterhead as a member of parliament, because I'm speaking on behalf of the people. Whether they investigate or not, ZACC will be known to have received this, they did not anything. Offices change. So to me, it is now on record. Whether they sweep it under the carpet, but our conscience is our master. Our conscience is our master. If we're to build this country, sanctions, yes, but corruptions are worse. Corruption is worse. And we must be able to fish out all the corrupt leaders that we have, especially those who have the responsibility of enforcing the law. You cannot.
Okay, follow-up question.
Yes.
Follow-up question is, if you from this one, everyone who's accused of being corrupt is alleged to have some strong links or connections with the president. Can we say the president is providing a blanket for corrupt people to do as they please? In your view, I just want your opinion on that.
Can I be honest with you? It's not a secret. I'm a cousin with the president. The president was the Minister of Justice, was arrested. And what did he do? Why was I not protected by him? My uncle was the Minister of State Security, did Masem does. Why was I not protected by them? He will not. He will allow, but people name drop. After you, I am related to the president. I was arrested 70 times as the Minister of Justice. He controlled the courts. He controlled the Prosecutor General. I went through, I was detained. I was denied bail. So it's evident that he does not at all stand for anything which is not proper. And we must help him. That's why being a lawyer, when you tell him you have an issue, the NASA issue, I spoke to him about it. He said to me, write to me. And I wrote to him. He demanded a forensic audit. I'm also writing to the Auditor General to do a forensic audit on the ZRP. Because we must also get professional institutions to also play their part. People are name dropping too much. You see them at state occasions, you see them taking pictures with the president and so forth. The president is the president of the people. And he can have a picture taken with anyone. But they then go and lie, I've been given authority. And again, we've got ministers who don't have that political clout to be able to check with him and say, is this true? If you look at the drugs deals, is somebody just being seen with the first family and using that? The moment that is seen with them, he takes pictures with them. So that he can show people, these are criminals who have been doing it for a long time. I've been with the president, this is what he said. I've been with the first lady, this is what he said. But they have the right to have pictures taken with everyone. This is where the Central Intelligence Organization of this country is finished. They could not have allowed Delishingwaya to get close to the president if they'd done proper vetting. But they are compromised. The police is compromised. The CIO is compromised. I will say it public. It's only the army which has failed to penetrate through. Why today is the president standing at the back? Before that, it was never the army. He has confidence in the army. These other institutions are infiltrated. They are not serving their purpose. They're exposing the president. That's why we're making this noise. There could be CIOs here and so forth. Let them record, let them tell their bosses. But it's my role of oversight that the security organs in this country, in particular the police and the CIO, are failing to discharge their duties in not vetting people who should be seeing the president, even donating to the president. Criminals are donating to the president. It never used to happen. Why were they loyal to the former president, the late Mugabe, and they're not giving the same service to this current president that we have, Idi Mnangagwa? With Mugabe, you could not just get close. You know that. You could not get close. But now, they're allowing people who are nothing, the Delishingwayas. We worked for the president to be in power. We shall expose those who want to tarnish the name of the president. We have demanded nothing. We fought more than others in ZANU-PF. November 2017 was a year for this country where everybody participated. And ZANU-PF cannot have the monopoly of running the country or think they have monopoly to the president. It does not work like that. We are all people who belong to the president. He's our president. No wonder why everybody who marched in November knew that President Mnangagwa was going to be the president when President Mugabe was out. Everybody knew. The late Chan knew. Nelson Chamisa knew. The MDC knew. The whites knew. No, everybody knew that the next president coming in is Idi Mnangagwa. And we all supported that. And ZANU-PF had expelled him. He was in South Africa. He was brought back by the people. It became the thing people's army because the army must do what the people want. There was never a coup. But the army could not stop the momentum of the people. They could not stop the momentum of the people. They joined in and became a people's army. There was never a coup. The former President Mugabe had refused to leave power on that last press statement which he did on TV, where people expected him to resign. And then he was impeached in Parliament. Motion was moved by Honorable Mchanga of the upper house and then Honorable Maridadi. But we had put a motion already with Maridadi, him moving it, me seconding it. So I had to withdraw a motion. So in removing Mugabe, we're together, both as ZANU-PF and MDC. But today, why are we not together? Have we betrayed the people? The current president who's there is the one that we wanted there. And he's still there. He will enjoy his time in office. According to the constitution, according to think democracy. He will not leave. There will no coup that will happen. There will be no protest. We are a peaceful people. But let people not take advantage of us. They are failing to learn from the lessons learned from the Mugabe time, even this corruption which is happening. Where are the people who were corrupt, who were close to Mugabe today? Where are they? They were untouchable. Our leaders must learn lessons. And in learning lessons, we become better. Yes.
My question is almost in the same line. The president is the one who appoints ministers. The president is the one who appoints the Commissioner General of Police, Matanga. You raised allegations that Matanga has for a long time been corrupt. And you have raised issues around July for quite some time. How does that reflect on the president himself if he still maintains Matanga as Commissioner General and July in cabinet?
But the thing, President works on evidence. We have written a letter. Okay? We have written a letter. What I must do is also to the president on allegations on July. Well, let's be fair. He cannot respond to things social media. That you've got to give it to him. What you must be saying that, Honorable Mliswa, why have you not written a letter to the president on July 1? Then I'll say to you, I'll write it tomorrow. Then he responds to that. We have written, we've copied the president. The presidium has been copied. And he's got institutions he's put in place. So let's see how they operate. If they fail to operate, then we write to him. But I wrote to the Anti-Corruption Commission, nothing was done, Your Excellency. Then at that point in time, we must question. I told you with Mfumira, I wrote to him, he called for a forensic audit, and it was done.
And then maybe lastly, apologies. Can I have another question?
The ladies first.
Thank you, Mliswa. Some say that you are a defender of the Deputy Commissioner General, Mr. Mutama, and you have previously mentioned that there was a plot to get him arrested. Would you care to explain how he fits in with this Matanga situation?
What I hear is that the Ngwaya is very close to the Commissioner General of Police, Matanga. And his arrest, he feels, was done by other officers who, TEMBA, Anyakutsikwa, Moyo, Charumbira, and many others. And when he came out, he then agreed with Matanga that he must go for those officers, which has happened. He talks a lot, by the way. You know, gets excited. He drinks with Matanga. They're very close. At Bolero, I don't know, is it Bolero in Newlands there? That's where they drink together. And I think our leaders must also have integrity and know who they're also mingling with. It doesn't look good when somebody has a case but they're drinking with the Commissioner General of Police. It doesn't look good. At times you say, so it is really out of that. Yeah, this is what I've been reading, and again, people were very loyal to the to HE, are also being targeted in the process and so forth. Matanga was never loyal to think HE. He was a deputy commissioner of police under Chiwuri. And Chiwuri, in his wisdom, saw it fit not to really work with him because he was always drunk. But he then rode on and said, I used to support you, President, but Chiwuri used to hate me for you, just like they do. You know, when one is in power, you say, but President, I was for you. Yet politicians vacillate. It's like most people who you see work with the president today, they're the ones who are saying, Pasina Mangako. But nobody could benefit. Masoja, chaya wakapeta moko wangotarisa. Inini mnozia history yangu nchenda ku Europe, ku EU, ku SADC, ndichenda mchindiona. But hapana chandinoda. Changu, chanda tinyika ifambe mushitise mkuru wa taida mnangagwa chete. From 2004 in ZANU-PF, we believed he was supposed to be in power. Takadzingwa, vanwe cholo chakadzingwa ipapo wakawanda machairman. Vamwe havasina kana kwavari naso. But they believed in democracy in ZANU-PF. So politics is like that again. Yes.
Last time you talked about the issue of a government of economic transformation. You say Zimbabwe does not need a government of national, but it needs economic transformation. I don't know as to whether you went. It was through a discussion, but still, maybe it was just part of an opinion. But still, do you see a government of economic transformation maybe coming up to solve some of the economic political limitations that we're talking about? To say, even if a government of national unity, be it a government of economic transformation, are they able to solve these political limitations that we are talking about?
Okay, let me take this opportunity in 2 minutes to educate the people of Zimbabwe what a government of national unity is. A government of national unity is if you have squabbles on elections, okay, and you now have to come in together, okay. And then there's what you call an inclusive government, where the president, with the powers with him, decides to include other people, MDC, but he remains the president. That's not to say that, no, he believes, okay, Honorable Misaira Mbwe is a good person, he's not in ZANU-PF, but I'm bringing him in. I believe Tendai BT is good in finance and bring him. But the power is with him. That's not to say that is what you call it. He's thinking a transformation would never happen. What I've pushed for is a government, an inclusive government. Looking at November 2017, where everybody took part. And picking some people in the MDC, some people in other parties, but the president was voted in is the president. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. To say, okay, I'll bring in somebody. And I spoke about a government which rebuilds Zimbabwe, Team Zimbabwe, according to people being competent. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And how many people are competent out there who are not interested even in any party, but are interested in Zimbabwe? But how many people are also in some political parties, but are interested in Zimbabwe? So I call a government that would rebuild Zimbabwe on us being nationalistic and being patriotic, but the prerogative still lying with the president. And that's what we must push for. A government of national unity, a government of transformation can never happen. Those are terms which national unity was because pang gakava by election year 2008. So because of that, SADC akapindira akapana zvigaru. But it does not stop the president right now with the powers he's had elected by people by even putting one MDC to be ministers. Are you understanding that?
Yes.
So our democracy is not matured to that point.
So in other words, it's more inclusivity to opposition party. The government of let's say the government of national unity doesn't take more of the opposition, like to say in terms of inclusivity.
No, but the government of unity at that time, they were given positions. MDC has got this, ZANU-PF has got this. But this time, he is the president. He decides, I want you to be minister. I want you to be minister. If you fail, I fire you. Even if you're MDC, if he wants to fire you, fire you. You see? But at that point in time, he could not fire an MDC person before talking to the leader of MDC. Because he came through MDC. I think we're done with yes.
You mentioned about the police not, as an institution, not being faithful to the president. What would you like to see? A reform or a total disbandment of the police? Then secondly, you say this, apart from the military, other institutions are also faithful. Does this include the judiciary, parliament, and what should happen in such circumstances?
That's a very good question, and I'll answer it like this. Muvimi anuvima nembwa zake. The truth of the matter is the people still serving these institutions worked under Mugabe. They were put in power by Mugabe. If we have to do an analysis that what percentage in these institutions do we have of the people who came in through the Second Republic and those who are from the First Republic, you probably 90% are still from the old republic. So the system has not changed. You cannot run a government without changing the bureaucrats. It's impossible. You minister you end up as up, but muna photocopying machine yagafa. Those are the bureaucrats. They are the ones who run the system. So how many of them have been changed? So the people appointed by the president now as ministers must now create their own team. And they failed to do that. In failing to do that, they busy now accuse each other G40, 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 G40. Because ultimately there's despondence. And because of the current economic situation too, there's despondency. They feel hard done. Whatever to compare, who was better, ED or the late RIGM? Because of the despondence. You know the politics I'm talking about. And in talking to me, you know I'm the only one who can say that. Not many people can. There's despondency in institutions of government. Because one, from a welfare point of view, it has not improved. So they're saying, it's better. Mgabanga better. But because panewan waiswane mkuru, wasiri kufamba ni agenda ya mkuru. And hawana kuchinja, hawana kuyende vanhu vavo. So that would be my response, that the bureaucrats have not changed, and while the ministers are new, people working for the ministers are not new. The other one was...
What was on institutions? Does it include judiciary?
No, in terms of institutions, I must be honest with you, I've not been happy of late as a Zimbabwean, as a legislator, just that we enjoy the independence of institutions. What's been happening in the judiciary, I've not been happy. I think even how people are incarcerated, Hope, whether you like him or not, I don't think he deserves to be in there for that long. Advocate Tabani Mpofu, who is a friend of the court, I did not expect him to be in for that long. We are really doing things which are silly, which really tarnish this country, to be honest with you. And I ask myself, are these police officers serious about this country, or they're tarnishing the name of the president? When the president leaves the country, he's asked, but why are you detaining a journalist? Why are you detaining a lawyer who's a friend of the court? For me, I'm really against that, to be honest with you. I don't support such ways of doing things, and I see these people as saboteurs. People are out there to tarnish the image of the president. Why would you? No one is above the law, but why would you really go for the thing wife of the thing chief? And those are but kana makuda kusunga munhu akadaro, you must have empirical evidence that you know stand. Izvo zvaenda kukoti zvakunzi havaso vakasaina, but makavavharira mukadzi wamambo. Mvura inonaya naye anyway. And this is good, she's above the law. But what are we doing to ensure? And how many people right now wanaenda kukoti varungo hapana mosha. It talks about the persecution. Kuti vari kusunga kungokukaurisa. Kazi kapinda mukoti mozoti my magistrates atengwa, nemajaji atengwa, yet mabika mbodza. So what are we doing now to change? Are they being trained? So you're now running a system where everybody is under siege. Major setano chika kupa munu beo, banafana piwa beo achiti, ndoko na kusungwa. Mombe aifire miya dimango. Anungo isundira kwa High Court.
But at the end of the day, I think the buck stops at the top. Who should then deal with those issues that you're raising? If the legislators are not raising it in Parliament, if the judiciary is afraid to do their work without fear, if the police are putting on border, then who should rein in on all of this? Who should then put in place policies that ensures that the people are not affected by certain sectors of this country? Who should do that?
Very good question, and I'll answer you as your legislator. I have moved a motion to invite the president to come to Parliament for question and answer, where we'll ask him questions, where we can ask him, but Your Excellency, there's corruption, and you say zero tolerance on corruption. Why is it high? There's unemployment, Your Excellency. You promised jobs. Inflation is shooting up. You brought a Minister of Finance, but it's there. So that opportunity from the provisions of the Constitution is allowed. So I have done it. I mean, a ZANU-PF guy wouldn't do it. You know that he would certainly lose his thing. But I've done it from that point of view. We're quite independent, and the Speaker has been quite supportive of that let's do it is important. I wanted to do it before SONA, because now he's done SONA. But we have a culture of when he does SONA, you don't ask questions. From the previous SONA, what was achieved? So we systematic. So I've now said, no, we must ask him. He must come to Parliament. He was the Speaker of Parliament, Leader of Government Business, Vice President. If there's any person who we always respected in Parliament, Chamis and myself sitting next to each other and talking, was the discipline the President had in Parliament. The current MPs are ashamed to his discipline in Parliament when he was a high-ranking official. He sat in Parliament even with 10 people there, yet others are not there. So on Parliament, even MDC will tell you when he was Speaker, he was there. So he understands the institution. So we have done our part. We invite him. I'll do it to come through. In terms of the judiciary, I don't know. A lot needs to be done, because if such institutions now people don't have confidence in him, it becomes a problem. There is a problem with a lot of institutions in this country. They are run by individuals. They're not run by a system. Yes.
And then maybe lastly, my last question would be, you touched on you going to Botswana for a certain troika to stop an army coming to Zimbabwe. Maybe you can shed a bit more light on that.
You know that when we were going through what we're going through, the former President Mugabe was very much supported by the ZACC and President Zuma, as you know. And they had a meeting in Botswana where they were discussing Zimbabwe. What do we do now? It was a meeting, and it was a press. I stormed it. I was holding the Zimbabwe Constitution, and I said, Section 212, 213, and 214 of the Constitution talk about the deployment of the army, where there is national security issues and where there's lack of law and order. And I stormed it. It was being chaired, and everybody listened to me. And a couple of ministers, foreign affairs, came to me and said, "Where did you come from?" You know. And then from there, I found my way out of there. This was for this country. I believe there was no point for them to do anything extra. We were working on our issues. It was a constitutional, because they were saying the army had taken over. The army had not taken over at all. But in terms of Constitution 212, 214, they can be deployed to the streets for law and order. This is what really makes me agitated by the legislators that you vote for. Instead of getting that amended in the Constitution, they don't. So when you see the army on the streets, it is a constitutional issue. You ask, why are they there? If the police are overpowered, the reinforcement is from the army. But the police are leading and the army are behind. So if you don't want it in the Constitution, lobby for it. Let it be removed. In EU, I went there when I said the next leader is Comrade Mnangagwa. Nobody could talk in parliament there, as you see them, about Mugabe when Mugabe was in power. Nobody could talk about Grace. We stood up and we spoke about it. When we said that she was spending 1.4 million on buying a ring when hospitals were not good. But today, these are the very same people who are going to the president saying, we supported you. Tell me when July Moyo, okay, ever said anything in the Central Committee to support the president. When the president was expelled from ZANU-PF, why did the Midlands Central Committee members not walk out? I want to know. Kungonyepa vachingoti maningi strategist chi but vanhu vakakashandira mudhara chaichai varungotarisa dai macomrades ndo vakati nyika iyi isvike pairi vakumbira munhu wese kuti tichifamba pamwe chete, and people listened to them.
Honorable, when you say it's constitutional for the army to be in the streets sometimes, are you not maybe ignoring the part which gives the president the power to deploy the military himself? No one else has that power through consultation in parliament too. So November 2017, when the army got onto the streets, no one had deployed it. The president did not deploy it. President Robert Mugabe said he was a state house. He did not deploy any army. So I would like to understand just that part now.
Not mistaken, 214 A and B is very implicit in terms of that. And to me, MDC has got 16 lawyers who are brilliant, but they've never challenged it. For me, I really drink from the MDC fountain when it comes to legal issues, because they are brilliant. Kuside kwezanupf kune 4 lawyers with malawyer futhi andizive ndozanchigara kwemdc kune 16 ndindofunga ndinoona zviri better kupfuura uko ndosama ndichigara kwake, especially na biti no biti anondudza chokwadi vamwe ava mutemo yava inotinetsei, ndosanchigara nabiti ndikamubvunza anonditaurira, so he could have brought it up. So if you see MDC quiet about it, there is something right happening. Yes.
I think his question is, the military got into the streets of Harare in November 2017 without the approval or the assignment from the president, who was Mugabe, and without parliament approval, which is the only constitutional provision where the military is expected to be seen in the street. So was it constitutional that the military found itself in the street? That's his question precisely. There was no parliamentary approval, there was no the president's approval. The president did not deploy the military, which the constitution only allows those two to deploy the military in the street.
Do you know the great thing about the constitution is how you interpret it? You are saying that, somebody is saying this. That is a talk we must have one day. But I'll also ask you that the constitution also talks about then maintaining law and order under the ZRP. So could Matanga not have said, come, I need help? And was he wrong? That's what they'll say. You're also missing that point, that when the police are overpowered, they can call for the army to come to maintain law and order. But the police are kumberi, army kumashure, ichiwabetsera. So Matanga constitutionally is also the only person who can deploy Mapurisa in the constitution. You know that. So he's the only person too in the constitution who can ask for a deployment of the soldiers to assist. So it's a discussion which must be held. It is a topic which one of the journalists must have to bring various gurus to talk about it. And then there's the issue that after that the president must also come to think parliament. It's like the SIs, the stationary instruments which are given. You are given 14 days as parliament to look into it, whether it's right or wrong. But at times we don't follow a lot of things from a constitutional point of view. I'll have 3 more and then go with it. Yeah.
My question comes late because I was listening attentively. I'm not very sure when you simply suggest that the president might not be aware of things that might be happening under his own administration. I'm not very well versed in government structure. but my little understanding also is clear when it comes to the development of police. When it comes to the appointments of those people who are making very high up of the police. Just to finish up my question, as far as I know, our legal system is very clear on the function of the police. It's a form of police system. The police have a military arm, which is what you need. They have a commissioner general, but you've got rules of form of police. Then you've got the presidential president, which can override the military. So my argument is very simple. To me, you seem to be anointing the president. I'm not very sure. Your mind legislator also. I think you need a bit of a if arrests take place, if the army is handed on the street, whether or not I've read my constitution and failed, that's the problem with the president. Those people who died on the streets of Mliswa are equally probably blamed the president. I don't see where the president is being nice.
Okay,
In any case, finally, he was part of the same system, security-wise, that is using now. So how can it be avoided to that extent?
I want to answer you, and you are being fair, and everybody does talk about it. Let me just clear today that TEMBA seems to support the president and so forth. I'm very constitutional, okay, and I don't believe in abusing or insulting. I do criticize, and when I'm in Parliament, I have an opportunity to criticize, and in Parliament, I have an opportunity to invite the president like I've done now. And is there a process of holding the president accountable? Yes. Is it constitutional? Yes. So I don't believe it's proper for me to go out in the public when I can invite him and ask the questions like you're asking. That Your Excellency, you were part of the system before. How can you convince the people that the system has changed? When you to Parliament, say to me, but why did you not ask him? But I will not participate on social media. Because you voted for me to uphold the provisions of the Constitution. So also the opposition wants me to be opposition. I can't be opposition. But the ruling party too wants to be ruling party. But I remain independent, and I support what I believe is good for the national interest. That's what is great. And you see me, I mean, people who insult me left, Muzanu PF. And the only party I'm not joining and do say is ZANU PF. And then I would join him. So can you took out Muzani PF, Ongu ZANU PF, Uchirimo, and Ndinganye Kuti, Wakabuda, but Kutindiriko and Diko. Kuti injo ZANU PF and no support Iowa. Are you with me? And I'm that honest. Because I cannot talk about any other party. My father was Zipra, then it became ZANU PF. So, but can I openly ask the questions you're asking? Yes, I can, but in a fora which allows us to do that. And that is the National House of Assembly. I think we're done. If people want some